What's good, Ravens fans? It's your boy JG, and we are back with another edition of Raven Space, where I'm going to talk to you guys about some things on the internet, and I have some interesting numbers I want you guys to comment on. So we're going to go and break it down, subscribe, all that great stuff. Okay, so this popped up here, and talks about the Ravens receiving options are near the bottom of the league, and expected points added. And here's a chart breaking down expected points added by option for every team. So these are for receivers and by the option. Now, again, I'm gonna break this down because it was a little confusing for me before, because when I was reading it, I don't think the people who did these are stat people or not football people. And I only say that because they use the X here instead of number. I don't think they mean the X receiver, and that's what I thought, but they don't think they mean that. I think they mean the top number receiver, right? So here they did top 4. So let's take a closer look here into this graph. So what it does is it takes EPA, and again, if you guys don't know what EPA is, it is, of course, the expected points added. What it does is it calculates for you, what points are added per play, right? So, for example, a play near the red zone has a higher EPA potential than a play outside the red zone, right? Wide open passes that are dropped have a higher EPA than contested ones. So, let's jump into it. So here we have the Ravens, and you can see the Ravens options here. The top 3 options are positive. I would assume this, and again, it's a buy with the most receiving EPA this season, most total. I would assume that's Mark Andrews. I don't think, they might only be, no, they're not only receivers. So this is Mark Andrews. I would assume that this second one is Bateman. And so they said while Bateman was on the field, that it was okay, right? However, once we get to our 4th receiving option, they actually are a negative factor, right, for us scoring points. And there are some other teams with this negative factor, so let's just go through them. Commanders, okay. Texans, okay. Broncos, interesting. Panthers, Bears, Browns, and Jets, Steelers. What does this tell you, right? Not good. It's not a good thing. Eagles have it, which is, a really interesting anomaly because they're one of the best teams in the league. But us and the Eagles are the only playoff teams that have a negative EPA for any receiver. Or for any, not any receivers, for the rest of our team. Now, for the Eagles, you can see that their top 3 options are so great. Oh, I'm blocking them. Guys, I'm sorry. I know you guys hate me. So for the Eagles, you see their top 3 receivers have a great number of points added. Look at the Ravens. Our passing options. Our tight end is number 1 for sure. And then these 2 and everyone else you throw the ball to is a negative. We have to compete against other teams like the Bengals who have all positives. They can throw it to any player and they are earning points for them. The Chiefs, the Jaguars, ladies and gentlemen, this is scary stuff. The Dolphins are unique because they have 2 great receivers, as you can see here, and then a small drop-off a big drop-off everywhere else. So what this shows, though, 2 things. It shows how much we throw the ball to our different options, right? So, and I'm using other teams as an example, right? So you can see here that the Ravens throw it to the tight end as much as the second person. Now, this doesn't break down who the second person is or even who the first person is. I know that's Mark Andrews, right? For sure. And I don't know who the second most person who gets the ball thrown to him is. But they're close. However, they're still very low compared to other great teams, right? And again, it's going to be a struggle for us, and I thought that was interesting. So let's see what the people have to say. Because I love the people. Jason loves the people. Um, let's go to something interesting. So I, 1K Icy says all of our receivers have made plays in the NFL. Can the reason they don't do it consistently be attributed to coaching? Does Roman not use them correctly? Are T and Keith not that good? We'll never know because we don't throw them the ball. um, so there's a couple of things here, and I'm gonna jump into it. First thing is the answer is yes to all of those things. Greg Roman can't coach receiving routes, so it's less likely for them to be open. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they can't do it consistently because they're not good enough from a talent perspective. Even Bateman, I thought, wasn't getting open consistently. Now, Bateman, he does win routes. I have seen him win routes when he's healthy. The beginning of the season, he was winning routes. So I'm not going to say he's trash like that. Other receivers on our team don't win routes other than Mark Andrews and Likely. Likely wins a lot of routes for a tight end. And because of that, we're always going to have a problem throwing the ball because Lamar has to throw it into tight windows. Even Duvernay, who was making great plays, wasn't winning routes. He was jumping over people, making mosses in the back of the end zone, getting the ball on reverses, drag, stuff like that against zones. He wasn't winning man-to-man routes. And in this league, that's what you're going to have to do to be a great receiver. So all of the above answers the question. But let's see what everyone else has to say about that. One big boy said, no, we know they aren't good. Watch our receivers other than Bateman when he's healthy. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Try to win routes against tight man coverage. They can't. Right. And then someone says, well, spread them out and make them make the defense run more zone. But you're telling me these guys are incapable of winning a couple reps in man? I don't believe that at all. 78 snaps from our receivers combined and 6 targets. How can you honestly fault them for no production? Then he says, yeah, I'm absolutely telling you that dudes like James Prochet and the ghost of Deshaun Jackson and Sammy Watkins are not winning a whole lot of routes in man. Robinson has been a bit better, but not by much. This is a good conversation. They're going back and forth here. They're going back and forth. Basically saying, they're not number ones, but they can win some routes. Here's another thing you guys aren't realizing is that defensive players get paid too. We have to stop pretending like they don't. Defensive players get paid too, right? I guarantee you, yes, if you run 100 routes on a person and you're the only, like if you're in your backyard, right, and you are going up against, let's just say Marlon Humphrey, one of the top tier corners in the league, right? And you're in relatively good shape and you know how to play football, right? Again, you're not getting off. If you weigh, 800 pounds, you're not winning routes against Marlon Humphrey. It doesn't matter how many you do, right? No offense to people who weigh 100 pounds, but it's not happening. But if you're in relatively good shape, even not great. I'm not saying you have to play football. I'm just saying, you go to the gym and you can run and you throw 100 routes. You'll win run one against Marlon Humphrey. And so let's take that to an NFL player, right? If an NFL player was running against Marlon Humphrey 1-on-1 and they went 10 times, he'll win 3. He could win 3 for sure, even if he's worse than Marlon Humphrey. I'm talking about people who are worse than Marlon Humphrey, right? Our receivers are worse than every cornerback in the league, right? Defending them for the most part. Every top tier cornerback is probably better than our best receiver right now. You'll win 3 routes against them for sure. But are you going to win 3 routes in 3 seconds? Because the defensive line is coming in 3 seconds. Are you going to win 3 routes when it's your turn and when it's your time to win those routes? If you guys know, there are options. Quarterbacks are scanning the field. They're not looking at James Prochet saying, all right, James, this is the 10th time I'm throwing you the ball in a row. Let's see if, like you do when you're outside with your boys, let's see if you can break on them. No, Lamar Jackson is looking, okay, you're option one this play. Okay, option one, oh, that didn't work. I'm off you, right? I got 2 seconds, right? You know, if you look at the time per throw for a lot of the best quarterbacks in the league, it's 3.5 seconds, right? They looking, nope, turn. Look, nope, turn, right? You don't have time. You can't. It's not about winning routes. This is what this guy is saying, right? Yeah, I mean, you telling me they can't win routes? Yeah, they can win 3 routes when it's one on one. No one else is rushing the passer. There's no safety over the top. There's no, they see them saying that they're not saying. There's no linebacker screaming across on the under. Yeah, you can win a route, but the best receivers, for example, Tyreek Hill, when he wins his routes, he does it in 2 seconds, right? He does it so fast that the safety can't help and the linebacker can't get over. Can you do that? And the Ravens can't do that. So, um, that was a good conversation they had there. But again, this is interesting. It just shows again that the Ravens aren't getting a lot of production from their receivers when other teams in the league are getting much, much more. And we pretty much already knew that. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks, and go Ravens.